Hey everyone, welcome to the Withering Effect, episode 67. Today's date is October 18th, 2020, and I am Duds, or Duds Versus, known to the rest of the interwebs.
And I'm Jimbo. You may know me as Jimbo Slice 23. So what have you been up to this week, Duds?
Pulling my hair out.
Yeah, again.
Just falling out in clumps. Yeah, so I went back, did some mountain work, and determined that I don't want to do mountain work anymore. I hate this stupid mountain.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, thinking about working on this mountain makes me just not want to play Minecraft anymore. That's how bad it's gotten.
Right.
So I've devised a new plan for a new base. I am going to straight up move bases this late into a season.
Well, it's relatively early, but...
Yeah, but when you think about it, we're over 11 weeks in to a season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a plan for a new base that will still connect to the mountain. I still plan on finishing the mountain, but it's no longer a priority. It's going to get done. It's going to get decorated. We're going to have pirate themes all around it, and it's still going to look good. So if anyone stumbles across it in the real world, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is a nice build, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, forget that mountain. Hate that mountain.
Yeah, that can burn you out.
Yes.
When I was detailing my mountain, I could only do so much at a time.
Yeah.
It's just way too much sometimes. My mountain was huge, and you were going to build... Not so much the scale of my size mountain, but quite a few of these. What you're going to build 3?
Yeah, all of mine are about 2/3 of your size, so they're smaller.
Mm-hmm.
The smallest one being super small compared to yours. But there were going to be 3 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I still had the larger mountain, which was just going to be a tiny bit smaller than your mountain to do. Like I hadn't even built the mountain yet, let alone decorate it and texture it.
Yeah, well, it's nice to try something new.
Yeah, and that's what I'm taking out of it is,
You could always say you build a mountain.
yeah, this is a lesson learned that pushing my boundaries, here's one of my boundaries. I can build a mountain, no problem. Will I enjoy doing it? Not at all. But I know I can do it.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. You know, I wanted to build this mountain. I've seen mountains being built. Actually, at the time I started building my mountain, I saw other people starting to build mountains. I was like, oh, I'm kind of up with the trend right now.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped me get through building my mountain, seeing everyone else build theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm, kind of, I don't, like I said, in with the trend. So that kind of helped me get through it. But yeah, it's very time consuming. If you want to avoid burnout, that's something I would avoid. So that kind of work.
Yeah. I knew burnout on this thing was going to be a real thing. So I purposely sectioned parts of this mountain off. It's like, look, hey, just work on a section at a time. That's all you have to worry about. And the original plan was do just a section a day. Should take you 10 minutes to do a section. Well, it was taking me close to an hour to do a section. So it became my only time to play Minecraft. I was texturing a mountain multiple days in a row. I think at one point I did 6 days in a row of texturing this mountain. I am only 1/3 of the way through texturing the mountain.
Ooh.
And I was just like, no, this is not going to work. I hate playing Minecraft right now because all it is texturing a mountain.
Yeah.
I had a base plan for earlier in the season that I didn't think was going to work. But you, my friend, have showed me the light. And it can work.
Ah.
And I think we're going to get together and do something.
Yeah. So no spoilers on the new.
No spoilers just yet.
Okay.
But let's just say what Jimbo has been known for this season, I'm going to bring a tiny bit of that into my new base.
Yeah, we talked about it. I already know about the plans.
Mm-hmm.
Should make for a fun collab.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a little bit of grind work, but nowhere near the grind work of texturing a mountain.
No, it's actually, I mean, as I've done a lot of this season, as you mentioned, and it's a lot easier than you would think.
Mm-hmm. Mine's going to have a little twist.
Yeah, yours is different.
Yeah. But other than that, I ended up building a blaze farm with Carl. We talked about how easy farm building has become in Minecraft in the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Carl built a blaze farm, like quite literally. So the blaze farm, it was 100% enclosed. Like it was buried in netherrack.
Mm-hmm.
We dug it out, built the farm, decorated the farm, put an auto smelter and everything in it in an hour and 40-something minutes. That's it.
Yeah, that's fast.
So quick.
Usually you have a blaze farm. There's a lot of redstone involved.
Mm-hmm.
There are some where you use the blaze to attract the player.
Yes.
They kind of come to the player. That could take a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you use lava.
I use lava.
Yeah, kind of like a spawner.
Yeah, in 116, lava pushes mobs very much the way water pushes mobs in the overworld.
Mm.
The farm is basically a skeleton or zombie grinder. Pushes it into a 2x2 hole. We've got ladders on the inside to keep the entity cramming from happening. And really, we don't even let the entity cramming come close enough to it. Just chill there, and it's a constant stream of blaze. It's not the most quickest farm known to man, but there's relatively next to no waiting for a blaze to come down. And we filled up an 8 furnace auto smelter plus the hoppers behind it in like no time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think Carl got close to 40 something levels in an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not super fast. But considering he was already on level 20, so that's not like you're getting levels like that anyways. It's a good farm. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and it's a huge jump from when like in Economy Craft you had a spawner that you used rails to pick up the blaze, and those rails would drop them off, and then another rail would pick that up and then drop it off, and then drop it off into a crusher that would crush it for a few seconds. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of stuff.
It really was.
To put inside a spawner, and here now it's just lava. Push them down with lava. Crazy.
It's making sure the room is the correct size, making sure you've got enough height from the spawner so when they hit the bottom where the lava is, the spawner goes, hey, I don't have any more blazes. I must spawn more blazes.
Yeah.
So by the time those guys who are on the lava get pushed into the hole, there's already more blazes falling down. And when those guys hit the lava, there's more blazes falling down. And it's not an XP replacement farm for the Enderman farm. By no means am I saying that. But the fact that you get a fuel source, a high quality fuel source at that, while getting XP, mwah, I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is a great. I forget what I was gonna say. Can't think of the word. It's a great replacement for fuel.
Yes,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, if you're running coal right now, this is better.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna run mine with sticks.
Oh yeah,
that's not a good fuel source, but I have plenty of them.
But you're going to love that because that witch farm is running all the time anyways. So good. I love when people combine farms.
Right.
It's so cool. Yeah, what have you been up to this week?
I've done a lot of resource gathering. I'm using a lot of Blackstone. As most of you know, if you'd watched the episode, there's a lot of Blackstone in my base. And
yes.
Instead of me making a farm because you could barter for it and get Blackstone, I've been going down deep into the nether because there's patches of Blackstone in the nether and just mining out by hand. Now, this is going to change. It's got to change. I can't keep doing that. I have a lot of like netherite or ancient debris. I'm getting more and more quartz while I do this. That's the main reason why I wanted to do it by hand.
Oh yeah.
Is just to gather the other materials I may need. But yeah, I might have to make something to barter or some kind of barter farm. But there's a lot of other bartering farms on the server, so I may have to use those to get the Blackstone. But it's not just Blackstone. There's a lot of other blocks I'm using in my builds, and I just had to go around and gather up resources. I try to buy as much as I can if it's available in the shopping area. My base is just so massive that I'm going to be resource gathering a lot. And most of the time lately, that's what I've been doing. Besides that, I was able to build a little bit with the resources I got, and I got to play aubni's game.
I know.
It's been a good time, actually. aubni's games are pretty unique. The what we have to do is you buy a map. This map leads to either a treasure or a dungeon, and sometimes the treasure that you get have another map that leads to another dungeon, and these dungeons have all these different twists and turns and different things you have to do to get to different doors, and sometimes there's keys in these treasures. It's just real unique how he comes up with these ideas for these games. It's almost like Tango-esque how he comes up with some of these games, and it brings some trust issues with aubni. You kind of like, yes. You're like, this guy, man, what is he trying to do to me? That's what
aubni's always trying to kill me. That's what goes through my head all the time.
Yeah, every game he makes, you could die. You could die like any game he's made. He's really good at mazes. He did a lot of mazes last season, which frustrated a lot of people. You get stuck in one of these mazes. You're like, this guy. Oh man, this guy.
I'm going to steal that walrus's tusk.
Yeah. I've recorded that. It's in one of my episodes of the game, and it's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually made it to where one person just can't play the game. You need multiple people to play the game to get into certain doors, and you can steal or kill each other for keys to get in certain areas.
Yeah.
The main prize are these artifacts. He makes like these special artifacts for players to collect and have throughout the season, and I thought that was really cool. Figured I'd share that.
I don't know if I have an artifact or not. I got a treasure, which came with keys.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to ask you if you ran into any doors you couldn't unlock, and what key did you need?
There are keys that I need that I couldn't get into.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's areas I noticed I can't get to that have doors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious how you get to these certain areas. And at the beginning there weren't many people playing this game, but there's more and more people playing it. And yeah, you'll just have to look out for episodes if you're interested in this game we're playing. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm curious to how everything is set up.
Yeah, very much. I can't wait for Aubni's next game. I know he's still busy on this one, but the next one should be... I've been trying to convince him into trying a Tango-esque decked out, but there's just so much work in one of those, and we don't really have the player count worthy of a game that size.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love one of those kind of collect 'em all games on the server. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, this game's a little similar to that,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was funny, that Tango would come out with a game so similar to Aubni's. They're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of on the same level.
They're similar, but they are not a copy at all, because Aubni's is a treasure dungeon finder that you really have no clue what to expect, whereas Tango's is a labyrinth, and you have to work your way through a labyrinth without dying, which you can learn, but you can't learn Aubni's maps.
No. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up. We did that live stream. That was actually yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I started at 5 a.m.
I know. I didn't see your live stream at all.
Yeah, I actually had like up to 12 viewers. Yeah, it was pretty...
Wow.
I was surprised. I was like, it'd be 5 a.m. I don't expect many people to watch. As soon as I started, I had like 7 viewers. I was like, whoa, this is cool. And it got up to like 12. And as a small streamer, I don't stream much. 12's a good bit.
Yeah, especially at 5 a.m.
Yeah, and then it kind of wakes you up. It gets you motivated to keep going. So it was a good time.
We do have to, Carl mentioned, we got to get you set up so your VODs actually show up on Twitch. Basically, your streams, we can't go back and watch old streams.
Yeah.
Because you don't have it saved on Twitch.
Oh.
So I missed your stream yesterday, but I went to go back to watch it, and it wasn't there, and Carl mentioned he went back to watch it also, but it wasn't there. So we got to find that setting for you and turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah, let me know.
Should we move on to the news?
Yeah, that's it for my week.
All right, Minecraft news. We have 1.16.4 pre-release 1. Straight up skipping the snapshot straight into the pre-release.
Mm-hmm.
So the new features are going to be a UI called Social Interaction Screens. The Social Interaction Screen opens with a configurable, holy cow, key binding by default P. Whether a player is hidden, resets when rejoining a server. So basically what it is if you get sick and tired of seeing someone in your chat spamming something, you can mute them. It's really what it is. It's a mute button for somebody in your multiplayer chat.
Yeah, mainly for SMPs.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other thing on Bedrock?
Realms,
yeah. Stuff like that.
I'm sure for the big high pixel servers and stuff like that too, there's probably somebody always spamming something in a chat somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can just be like, shut up, click.
It's helpful if you were to record something, and you don't want
much.
Chat to interrupt your recording.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helpful there too.
Yeah. What about the technical changes?
Yeah, technical change. New network protocol scheme. With a high bit of 30 set for snapshots, the protocol version will increase by 1 for each snapshot, but full releases may keep the same protocol version as the previous full version in cases where the network protocols are compatible. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Very wordy way of saying meh. Just you do you, Mojang.
I'm sure listeners might comprehend all that.
Yeah.
More information is now added to the crash log in cases where poor performances causes the server to crash.
We know what that means, though.
Yeah, that's all I got for the technical changes.
this wasn't going to be any kind of big update. I think it was just one of the last minute things they wanted to get out before they really start hunkering down on 117.
Right.
And I think this is the last 116 update. I don't know for sure, but either way, 116's been a great update. So
yeah, I'm sure they're always, out there listening to any bug reports or anything that may come their way to where they might go to 116.5, but yeah, there's nothing going to be added, I doubt. Doesn't sound like it, at least.
All right, so we do have a listener comment. Should we go ahead and read this?
Yeah.
All right, the email says, "Hey, Duds and Jimbo. It's ChiefBigBear from Discord and Patreon. I was listening to an episode from several weeks ago, and y'all were talking about netherite armor and some ways it could improve, such as adding gold to the texture, and it gave me some ideas. Personally, I like netherite, or personally, I feel like netherite is just too bland and could be spiced up a bit more. One of the ideas I had was that maybe if you were wearing full netherite, it could give you fire resistance, kind of like a bit of a full armor boost. Since netherite tools and armor are fireproof, it would be logical that wearing full netherite would make a player fireproof, at least for a few seconds after coming in contact with the fire or lava. What are your thoughts, and what are some other ways you think netherite armor could be improved or changed to give the players some extra buffs? Love the podcast. Keep up the great work. Y'all always brighten my day. Stay withered, ChiefBigBear." Well, thank you for the compliments, ChiefBigBear.
Yes, and thank you for joining the Patreon.
Very nice to have you here.
Very much appreciated. First thing, we can't stay withered. You got to drink your milk.
You got to drink your milk.
At the end. Make sure to drink your milk. Second, I feel like there is some fire resistance involved with the netherite. In aubni's game, I had to swim up a downwards flowing lava source. And I just used my netherite armor. Now, one of these netherite armors did have fire resistance on it, but by the time I got up to the top of this flowing lava source, I had like a half a heart of damage. And it took a few seconds to get up there, and I was very surprised. I didn't take a potion, no splash potion or anything of fire resistance. I just went right up it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's already some fire resistance involved with the netherite. Maybe he's asking for a little more fire resistance, maybe without the fire resistance on the armor, that certain enchantment.
Yeah.
Without the enchantment, give us the fire resistance. You do get the knockback proof. It does help you with that. Besides that, is there any ways you would improve it?
There's ways I would improve all the armors. I hate armor in Minecraft, and most of it's aesthetical, not so much functional. I like the way enchantments and everything work. I like how you can kind of pick and choose where you want certain enchantments to be. My biggest complaint is they are putting different buffs on different armor sets. Like, you don't want piglins to chase you? Put on a piece of gold armor. You don't want knockback? Put on a thing of netherite. You want to swim underwater for longer periods of time without enchanted armor? Put on a turtle shell head.
Yeah.
There's all these different things, and I think that's really cool, except for the fact you can't customize the armor so much. And this is where I'm sure there's going to be someone arguing with me. So you create this really cool custom skin to express yourself. And I love that. I love that Mojang went that way. And then you cover yourself in very bland looking armor. And often as it is now, it's very weird armor. Like, I have a netherite helmet. I have an elytra, so basically nothing but wings. And then I have netherite pants and gold boots. That's my armor set this season. None of it matches. None of it goes together very well. It really looks weird.
It changes your skin in general.
It changes this custom skin you worked hard to design. At least some of us worked hard to design on. And I get having different armor give you different buffs. That's awesome. I really do kind of like that. But to have the armor so bland and so non-customizable in the looks department, and everyone's going to yell, well, you can just get a resource pack and change it that way. It's like, I shouldn't have to, though. I would love for there to be a built-in way in the game to upgrade armor. I've always thought netherite, you have to build netherite armor with diamond and gold. You just don't have netherite and say, I'm done. At least there is gold. in there somewhere.
Mhm.
And there's no gold on the texture of this armor. And if you do just the ingot in a smithing table to diamond armor to convert it to netherite armor, there's no diamond in the texture. And I think that's something that should be done. Another idea I always had was if you make the armor, so say you worked your butt off and you have straight up netherite armor. Take your netherite chest plate and you put the netherite chest plate in the smithing table. No, not the smithing table, crafting table. You put it in the crafting table and then you surround it with leather. I think you should get a leather covered netherite armor. So now you can at least dye the armor whatever color you want.
Yeah.
It's one of my ideas. And I'm sorry if that sounded weird. I was like holding a cough back the entire time.
Yeah, I agree with giving it different colors. I feel like
Uh-huh.
the netherite texture compared to the diamond texture and the gold and all the other armor is a lot more unbland, I guess you could say. It's a lot more detailed.
Yes, I will agree with you that the netherite armor is the best looking armor of all the picks.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to just the skin that you create, it's really boring.
Mm-hmm. And again, you have the problem with everyone looks the same.
Yeah.
Still, you know,
Mhm.
I mean, if you can't get netherite, you'll be in diamond, you know, and then that's the only way you can pick people apart, you know, is because they have different armor on. But
Mhm.
really, when you see someone, it's them with armor. You know, you really have to either got to see their name tag or their face to really tell people apart.
Mhm.
And it would be nice some way to be able to show your skin even with your armor on. It does get annoying, like if you were to like my plan this season was to record a lot without the armor on,
Mhm.
but it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you don't think about it. It can be a hassle taking it on and off. So I really don't think about it when I record.
Same.
That's kind of going out the window. It would just be nice, like you said, to be able to use your skin a little bit more with armor on.
Yeah, another idea is so we have phantoms, which are the world's most annoying mob other than bats.
Mm-hmm.
But they drop phantom membrane, which can be nice when you repair an elytra without mending. But other than that, slow falling potions, it doesn't have a lot of uses. What if you could craft phantom armor, which is just invisible armor?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool. Maybe it's you have to combine, and I'm not saying make it easy. I'm not saying you should be able to take diamond armor, cover it in phantom membrane, and call it done. I don't care if you have to create this super special customized crafting table that takes a lot of grinding to create. If you can just have the option there, that's what I'm asking for. Like, we're going to be talking about it when it comes to block of the week, but netherite something. I don't care if I have to make an entire table out of netherite.
Yeah.
Give me the choice to do some more customization. That's all I want. I'm not asking you to go the modded route where you have to like build components for your tools and weapons and stuff, even though that's kind of cool. I'm not asking to go that route. Just more options is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And make the trident worthy of a weapon. It's literally just a fork right now.
Yeah. Well, there's the argument with the armor where, like you said, there's gold involved in it, and the
Mhm.
piglins don't recognize that gold, and they still come after you. And some feel, we brought this up before, that if you have netherite armor, the piglins should leave you alone.
Yeah.
If you have netherite, whether it's, I mean, gold or netherite, they should still leave you alone. There's still gold involved. Yeah, I thought that was pretty self-explanatory. That'd be nice to have.
Yeah, and I mentioned I think netherite should have the opposite effect of what it does now. So if they see you wearing gold, they're passive to you. I think if they see you wearing netherite, they run from you
Mm.
because of how beastie netherite armor is technically supposed to be in the game. It's really not. It's just a little bit better than diamond. But the concept of netherite armor is that it's the big old powerful top dog now, and it takes a lot of grinding to get there. I want piglins to run from me if I'm wearing full on netherite armor.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to mess with.
Might break the game a little bit, but who knows?
Yeah.
All right. I hope we answered your question, Chief Big Bear. Again, thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Joining the Discord, giving on Patreon, all awesome. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
While we're there, I want to mention we hit 40,000 listens last week.
Right.
40,000.
Thank you, guys.
Holy cow. I remember week 2 or 3 going, this ain't going to last much longer.
Come a long way.
We have. We really have. It's hard to believe.
Been a lot of fun too. Got to talk to a lot of people that you wouldn't think
Yeah.
we'd be able to get here, especially like you said, your first 2 weeks. I wasn't involved at the beginning, but I noticed, it wasn't very big at the time.
Mm.
With the structure you had in place, there was something there. And for it to get to this point, 40,000 listens, some of the guests we've had on are pretty big names, and it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I'm going back and I'm trying to look at. I don't think we kept track of the first week's listens. Carl came on at one point and really took over the analytics for us. But I want to remember after the first couple days, really only getting like 10 or 11 listens. That was was kind of a tough, okay, so yeah, this will be a fun little experiment, but it ain't gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And now we're at 40,000 listens, averaging 560 unique listeners a week, 828 Spotify followers. That's just on Spotify.
Nice.
Holy cow. The support from you guys is just amazing. And I could never grasp. I mean, we're still not big by any means, but I think we're reaching that. Hey, we're medium. We're medium now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not tiny. We're just not big.
Yeah. In some instances, we get recognized,
mm-hmm.
Which is a lot different.
Yeah.
It's very different than before.
That being said, I know some of us have been here since day one. And if you're like a day one listener, post a comment in the Discord or on Twitter or anywhere for us to see. I want to see how many day one listeners there actually were.
Yeah. Who are all the OGs? OGs. Put it in the chat.
Yeah. And if you're not an OG and you just joined, like ChiefBigBear, thank you too. Like, you're never late to this party. This is awesome.
Right.
And I love how you jump in there and immediately send comments and stuff. We love it. We love the listener comments. Keep doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. But talking about followers and people on the show we never expected or anything like that, this week's Discord ad is brought to you from Ulraf. I'm hoping I say your name right. We had fun in the Discord trying to figure out how to pronounce the name using typing.
Mm-hmm.
Carl was supposed to hit us up with the Discord ad so we wouldn't get it wrong, but we haven't heard it yet. So if we got it wrong, I'm sure you'll make fun of us next episode.
Yeah, we'll practice.
They're going to be on the show next week. They get an ad asking about questions and stuff for next week. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am Ulraf, a Minecraft gameplay developer at Mojang, and I will be joining Duds and Jimbo on next week's show. Also, you can submit questions for us to answer. But make sure to post your questions on the Withering Effect Discord by Friday, October the 23rd. I'm so excited! See you guys there.
All right. Thanks again, Ulraf, for giving us an ad so everyone knows you're going to be on the show and we can get prepped with questions and everything like that. I'm so excited for that next week. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Really looking forward to that.
For the Milk Patreons that listen to the show live, I know we're bouncing around our recording times because me and Jimbo are kind of wanting to lean towards Sunday mornings for recordings now, but we have a guest and guest always kind of determines the time, and I think we're going to be doing it on a Saturday.
Right.
So keep an eye out for that. We'll post the actual time we record when it comes closer to the date, but I think it's going to be a Saturday recording session.
Yeah, definitely got to reach out to the guest just to make sure our timings are right.
Guests always come first on the show. I think guests always come first on every show, but it sounds better when you say it. Anyways, this week's Block of the Week. So, like always, guys, you can get on our Discord, join to vote on Block of the Week. We're actually starting to run a little bit low on blocks, so we're going to start changing in Block of the Week for some other stuff, which might be fun. So, if you were wanting to vote on Mob of the Week, or Biome of the Week, or even Tree of the Week, maybe, we don't know, now's the time to join the Discord. But anyways, we had you guys vote between a smoker, a composter, and an anvil.
And the winner of Block of the Week this week is Anvil. Congratulations, Anvil.
Ooh, finally, Anvil wins. They've been up for Block of the Week like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and it was a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Anvil had 37 votes, Composter had 12, and Poor Smoker was 6.
Poor Smoker.
Thanks for the 6 people who voted for Smoker. Didn't want to feel left out. So I have a few things on the anvil here. It's crafted with 3 iron blocks and 4 iron ingots. That's 31 ingots in all. This block allows players to repair items, rename items, and combine enchantments. It can only be mined with an axe.
Pickaxe.
Pickaxe, yeah. Now you can put a slab or a torch underneath of it, because it is a falling entity.
Mhm.
That could drop as an entity, and you can pick it up then. It has 3 different stages while being used. It starts to deteriorate as you use it. It's found naturally in the forge room of a woodland mansion, and an anvil that falls on an item entity destroys the item.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, figured I'd throw that in there.
All right. So when it comes to improving the anvil, there's a couple obvious things. And just about everyone who commented on how to improve the anvil, we're on the same page. So we kind of call out other people's ideas on what they would improve. Well, this week we're on the same page almost all together, except for a couple things. So one, we all kind of agree we should have an unbreaking anvil. A lot of people mentioned you should be able to enchant the anvil to get the unbreaking effect. I say nay. You don't enchant the anvil, but you build a netherite anvil. I'm talking 3 netherite blocks and 4 netherite ingots. That's the unbreaking anvil.
Yeah, that's 31 netherite ingots
Yeah.
in all.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of grind. But this is the one item I think would be worth the grind. You see people grinding out netherite beacons? Nay. The netherite anvil is where it's at. I don't know why I keep saying nay. But
yeah, nay's a new thing.
Yeah, nay's a new thing. It's early. Anyways, so the unbreaking netherite anvil, things that it could do. Finally combine a chestplate and elytra. Why is this not a thing yet?
Yeah.
Also, I want it to be able to combine infinity bows and mending bows.
Ooh.
I go back to this enchantment, and at the time, I understood why they did it. Now, I don't understand it at all. I used a mending bow. I've used an infinity bow. I've never once had to repair my infinity bow because it gets used so little. Maybe I'm in the minority in that.
It's definitely controversial.
Yes.
To add those two together. I'm an infinity guy. I think I broke it once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I've only needed 2 of them.
Yeah.
Another thing I didn't mention about the anvil is as you add enchantments to your gear or your tools or whatever it may be, your XP doubles. So it does become very expensive if you put a lot of enchantments on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's nice to enchant something ahead of time to get so many enchantments as you can on that piece of gear or tool ahead of time before you add stuff.
And that's what brings me to the next fix for the anvil, or shall I say the netherite anvil. Look at that segue.
I know, that was an unexpected segue I gave you.
Yeah, never too expensive.
It's like a Scottie Pippen layup to a Michael Jordan slam dunk.
Mm-hmm. With the netherite anvil, no repair, no enchantment is too expensive. I don't care if it takes 300 levels. If you have the 300 levels, you can do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. And to me, this is all rewards. You don't have to go digging for a bunch of netherite to make a netherite anvil. You don't have to do any of this. You can still play the game normally, and it would be very effective. But if you're willing to put in the time to build a netherite anvil that could never break, you should be rewarded, and these are some very good rewards.
Yeah, I have a lot of netherite put aside that I'm probably not going to use. I mean, once you have this armor, unless you lose it in the void or, it despawns, you can't get back to it in time, this armor is going to be there forever. And so I have all this extra netherite sitting there on the side. You're not going to use the blocks for a beacon, most likely. There's no advantages to a netherite beacon. So something to use the netherite on, like an anvil. You know what I mean? Something.
Yeah.
A new object you could use your netherite is always nice.
Exactly. And the final upgrade we talked about earlier, really let you customize armor. I'm talking, you open up the AI or the UI for the netherite anvil, and it's not just the 2 little spots you can combine items. It's a full-on crafting table looking object. Say I put 6 netherite ingots in the lower 6 and 2 diamond things on the top left to top right. No, well, now you get netherite armor with diamond shoulder pads.
Ooh.
Doing stuff like that. Let you customize your armor. Make you look different than the other smurfs and netherite purplers running around. Stand out in the crowd. I mean, that's a status symbol there. Not only did I have enough netherite to build a netherite anvil, I had enough netherite to create my own custom armor out of it.
Yeah, and this kind of stems from listener comment about, what different things you can do with the netherite armor. A netherite anvil, to give you that ability to make people stand out, the blandness of the armor to become customizable.
Yeah, and I want to do that with all armor. Say you have leather chest plate. I use the chest plate because it's easily the most customizable. Say you do the bottom 6 leather and the top shoulders gold. You would still get gold shoulder pads, but now you could dye the leather chest section.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff I want. It doesn't feel like that would be too far of a reach of vanilla. You're not going into full modded where you have to custom build parts from giant machines and all that kind of stuff. You're using the things that are there, but you've got to put in the grind to get it. And I think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. Now, in the Discord, ChiefBigBear actually mentioned that maybe the netherite anvil, someone mentioned netherite anvil. I think Square Root mentioned netherite anvil. And Big Bear was going off of that, saying maybe you can upgrade books with the netherite anvil. Like, so let's say you have an Unbreaking 2 book, you put it in the netherite anvil and get an Unbreaking 3. Now, this would also mean your anvil would have some durability to it. Eventually it would break, because to have that at your disposal would be OP. So in that case, your anvil would probably have to break if you could do something like that. But it's something to look into. I mean, maybe another station instead of an anvil could do something like this for you, but be expensive as something like a netherite anvil.
Yeah, but when I think about something like that, I think, to me, that wouldn't be worth the grind, because just going through the villagers to get the highest level book would be a lot easier. And remember, I built a villager breeder in 15 minutes and got mending in another 10 or 15.
Right, that's true.
So within 30 minutes, I had 5 villagers, one with mending, another with Unbreaking 2 at a super cheap price. I think that kind of grind is a lot easier than the grind for netherite, just to waste netherite on upping enchantments. I see where they're going, and it's not a bad idea, but the cost per grind, I'm going to say again, just not there.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's it for Block of the Week. I felt like I was on a soapbox for a while. Listen to me rant. It wasn't really a rant, because I was getting excited. Like, these are things I could see in the game that would be awesome. It's the listeners choosing Anvil and throwing their topics out there, and I'm like, okay, I would do this, this, and this, and I read the Discord, and I'm like, yes, they're thinking the exact same thing I am. This is awesome.
Yeah, netherite anvil would be pretty cool. Now, the regular anvil, is there anything you could improve from that? I think it's pretty well set and cut and dry, what it does. I don't see anything else you could add to that.
It's really an OG block, which become really hard to improve. The only thing I can think of is you should be allowed to repair your anvil, but I don't think you can repair anvils in real life. I think when you crack an anvil in real life, like, it's done. I think they melt it down and make a new one.
Okay.
So I don't want to take that away. Like, if I say, well, repair an anvil would be nice, especially how you repair a golem now, where you can click on an iron ingot to repair. That's cool and it's understandable, but I think in real life, if you can't repair an anvil, I mean, maybe you can weld a crack or two.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a very OG block, which makes it really hard to improve upon. It has a function, and that function's a very good function, and it felt like a really thought out function, so the only way to improve said function is to start over. Yeah, that I kind of feel bad for, because like you said, my job was to update the anvil, and all I did was create a new item. But
yeah. Now, another thing I was thinking about, when when you smelt an anvil. I've never smelted an anvil,
Mhm.
but this might be, I don't know, pointless. But instead of getting maybe an ingot, I'm not too sure what you get. I'm thinking you would get an ingot if you were to smelt it, if you can, but maybe get an iron block instead,
Yeah.
which would still be kind of pointless. Maybe if you broke it down to the last crack or whatever durability, smelt it up, get an iron block.
Yeah, if you knew it was getting ready to break.
Right.
See, I didn't know you could smelt an anvil, so.
I don't know if you can or not. You figure you could, but maybe not.
No, but what you said would be perfect. If you knew the anvil was on like one of the last repairs and you could throw it in a smelter and at least get an iron block out of it to put to the next anvil, I would do that every time. That's awesome. It's a great idea.
Yeah, ingot would be, I don't know. You'd get way more than an ingot out of an anvil. So I figured a diamond block would be fair.
You mean an iron block?
Yeah.
If you got diamond blocks out of anvils, I'm going to be smelting anvils.
Oh, I did say diamond.
All right. So, shall we move on to our topic this week?
Yeah, that's all I got.
So, this topic, we're wanting to hop off the 117 train because we have a Mojang employee coming on next week, obviously. So, we're going to be talking a lot of 117, a lot of behind the scenes and everything like that.
Right.
So, I wanted to talk about build palettes because in building the Blaze Farm last night, I noticed the build palette. It's the same build palette me and you came up with for the Wither killing room.
Okay.
It's not a very, a palette you would normally see. And me and you talked about this. I was wanting to go dark dungeon theme, and you were wanting to go bright, colorful theme. And we kind of smashed that together. You were very much bone blocks and warped wood were your things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I want to use this black stone and red nether brick. And then when we smashed our two ideas together, it's a very weird palette. But I think because they're all netherish, it's a great palette. It really is complementary colors to the T.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have complementary of red with the green in the warped block. You have the complementary of the black stone with the bone block.
And because it's not like a red or, well, I guess the nether brick red is pretty red, but the green is kind of like an off green, turquoise, probably you could say.
Yeah.
It's not so Christmassy, it doesn't come off as Christmassy. But yeah, they go together really well, and the bone blocks give it a brighter feel.
Really do. It's a beautiful palette. And I just sat there in this Blaze Farm, it's built completely different than the Wither Farm or the Wither Skeleton Farm. The shape and the functionality is completely different. But using the same palette, it's like they feel like the same area. And they're completely different sizes, completely different shapes, and it feels cohesive. And I was just like, you know what? How do palettes really change us and impact builds? So I wanted to start with how our palettes have changed, how we've grown as builders, per se, since the beginning. Like, if you go back and you watch my early stuff, my early builds are very modern palettes. I use a lot of whites, I use a lot of glass. Very much straight lines, not a lot of curves. I don't like curves. I don't use a lot of wood or anything like that. It's got to be a stone block. Of course, that was mainly because I was scared of fire tick burning my entire builds down. But over time, I've very much embraced the ununiform textures. The putting a stair where a full block should be so it looks like there's a missing brick.
Mm-hmm.
Leaning heavily on wood to offset a stone texture, taking glazed terracotta, building this crazy pain in the butt pattern just to hide it behind some chest, because that little line of sight behind the chest really sets the room off. Like, if you look at my storage room right now, it's sea lantern, shroom light, sea lantern, shroom light. It's two different colors in there, but they accent each other so well that it really works with the warped wood and spruce build palette.
Yeah.
It's just crazy the different things you can do from very different blocks. Etho is where this is really coming from. Can't believe I've never really watched Etho till this year, but his build palettes are just so out there. Like, hey, I'm gonna build with melons today. You're like, wait, what? You're just gonna place melons around in like a little garden, right? No, he's using melons as a building block. And it looks great.
Yeah, another block people were using is the mushroom block.
Yeah.
Like the red with the spots, or even the stem of the mushroom block
Mhm.
with that like a wavy texture of it.
Mhm.
It gives it, I don't know, a luxurious feel if you use it on walls or ceilings. That I thought was pretty interesting. A lot of people are using those.
Yeah. In mushroom blocks, you can place a block next to it and reveal a whole new texture when you break it. So,
Yes.
but what about you? How has your palette changed in the years you've been playing?
Well, I've been using more blocks, but a lot of the look of my builds have been kind of the same. I
Mhm.
have like a worn down modern look.
Mhm.
I try to use different blocks every season. This season they gave me Blackstone, so I had to use the Blackstone. I love the Blackstone.
Mhm.
I like to use a block that is very abundant. You want to make sure you can get a hold of some of these blocks. You know, you don't want a bunch of rare blocks in all your builds.
Mhm.
It could be hard to get a hold of. So I like to use something abundant along with something that could have stairs and slabs, you know, something to give you some depth, some variation.
Mhm.
But mainly, I mean, a lot of my builds are pretty similar. I'm not trying to, I don't know, do anything too different.
As I create a new wheel every time.
Yeah. I mean, I like to play with circles. I
Yeah.
like to a lot of my builds are symmetric.
Mhm.
That's one thing I might try to move away from is symmetry.
Yes, do it. The second I broke symmetry last season in my little castle base, oh, it's like taking a heavy backpack off. It's like I'm okay with the fact that these two staircases don't line up. I'm okay with the fact that there's a tower on one side and not on the other. It's a relief because it's freeing. Now you're like, okay, I don't have to mirror what's over there. I can do my own thing on this side too, and they'll complement each other and it'll be all right.
Right. Yeah, I think the problem people have is like you try to go symmetrical
Mhm.
and like it's one block off somewhere. That could really irritate
Yes.
people. And that would probably irritate me also, especially if it was my build.
Mm-hmm.
Last season I did work with like even blocks. It's a lot harder to work with even number of blocks than it is odd
Oh yeah.
because you can have your, you know, your middle area. With even blocks, there's no middle area. It'd have to be a 2 block middle area. It does make things a little difficult. That was last year. This year I'm going for more modern, futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using that in a lot of my past builds. So I haven't really changed much. My block palettes are a lot of variations. I like to use if I find one block, I like to find as many variations as that of that block as I can. And this more is more involved in the terraforming.
Mm-hmm.
I like to terraform. I like to, like I said, I like that worn down look. And as if you can find as many variations to go with your main block type, this could really bring out the worn down look. So that's why I like to use the block variations. And I'm not I don't use wood very often. Don't use wood. It doesn't really mix well with the futuristic modern look.
Yeah. And that's one thing I was very modern and I've become more of a classical builder just because of stripped wood. Stripped wood looks so good. And when you mix stripped wood and concretes together, to me it's really nice look, especially if it's a gray concrete. Gray concrete's so amazing. I love it. Give me a stair and slab, please. Um, but yeah, and this goes to the next segment I was trying to talk about, and it's how palettes really impact builds. And like you said, you're looking for an extremely abundant block to be your base block. And then you're finding complementary blocks that have different variants, right?
Right.
Well, different variants obviously means stairs and slabs.
Right.
Remember when all we had in white stairs and slabs were quartz? And it was, quartz is such an expensive block. I can't use a quartz block here because I need it for stairs and slabs. So you were like mixing in bone blocks and you were like, it's called texturing, but it doesn't look right at all because the two textures are just so far off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stairs and slabs really impact build palettes to the point where it'll straight up make me say I'm not going to build this because I don't have a stair and slab variant. For me, it's mainly mob proofing. I hate mobs around my stuff. Usually, I have a lot of redstone, so if there's a chance a creeper can spawn where I'm building, I just don't build it because I'm the kind of person when stuff gets blown up, I don't rebuild it. Like if you look at my cow farm that blew up in this last episode, I didn't rebuild it. I just said, okay, all these cows are dead to me. Put something else there, move on. I'm going to go find a new food source.
Yeah. See, I like to build big. And one thing I want to mention is if you build big, it's hard to get detail in everywhere
Yes.
because everything's so massive.
Mhm.
I built these big towers, and I just want to point out that if you would just put some depth in there, you don't have to detail as much.
Mhm.
For instance, I have the towers, and it's kind of like a big shaft, smooth shaft. Don't take that out of context. But if you were just to put some depth in there, it would make it, I don't know, it'd make it a lot easier to detail. That could be detail in itself.
Yeah, you look at your tower. Your tower is not just a straight line vertical. You constantly were to go up, bring in, go up, bring in, go up, bring in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a gradient already there. You're adding depth,
Right.
and which in itself is adding a texture. Because you're hitting right on what I was talking about. One of the main rules I go by when creating build palettes is a rule of 3. So you either need 3 completely different textures, or you need 2 completely different textures and 1 block that adds depth, whether that's a half slab or a stair. Just one of those that adds a little depth. Or you could have 2 blocks that add depth and 1 texture. So if you're using all stone bricks, you need to mix in slabs and stairs along with your brick texture.
Right. That's pretty good to go by.
Yeah.
It's a good example.
It's very easy, and like all rules, there's always going to be something that contradicts what I just said, but it's a very good beginner's. How do I texture and add detail? Well, you have the rule of 3s, either 2 depth, 1 texture, 3 different textures, or 2 textures, 1 depth. Like I said, when you go big, that all goes out the window because you can't add the kind of detail I talk about.
Right. Yeah, to add like different details of stairs and slabs, not so much for the block variants, but just to add detail in general. Like if you were to build a window with the house, this window would have stairs and slabs, and
Mhm.
you'd have to make it look like a window or something different as a window. And with builds that big, you can't add those kind of things. So yeah, I just wanted to let people know that if you would just add just some depth in those mega base type builds,
Mhm.
it really it makes it detailed in general, just like that.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to texturize that big of a build and it look good.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means you can get away with using the 1 texture as long as you add depth.
Right. Yep.
And that kind of goes into where I said if you're using or if you're creating a big build, stairs and slabs really aren't for you because a single block will give you better depth and a better texture than a stair and a slab will.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it with how you're building your tower and it constantly goes in a block. If it went in a stair, it really wouldn't look like it's going in much at all because of how large it is. So you're going in a full block really does stand out a bit.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring into block palettes is don't forget things like flowers, flower pots, cauldrons, just these random anvils, chests, ender chest, all these little things that add more detail and can bring in different colors. Like in the Blaze Farm, we had this section that's got netherwort. That was originally just a plain wall. And I kind of thought, hey, let's throw in some potion brewing stands, and that's going to be awesome. And we were like, okay, yeah, that's great. And then Carl was like, hey, we have these blank spots right here. Let's throw in some netherwort. So at least some netherwort's growing in. It's not a lot, but just bringing in this another piece of red color in this room, it's like, wow, okay, that really works with the palette.
Yeah, it never hurts to try
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, so don't forget about items like that. It doesn't always have to be a block. It can be an anvil, netherwort, flower pot, stuff like that.
That brings me to dynamic lighting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, when they build, it's mainly a block they're building. I don't know how to explain this. I like to use like half slabs, stuff that can make mobs unspawnable.
Mm-hmm.
Spawn proof. Yeah, I like the spawn proof. Jeez, I can't think of anything I'm saying. And then using the dynamic lights. You have your blue lights this season that don't give off much light. It's not going to mob proof anything, but it gives it just enough to really give you that dynamic lighting. And that's something I like to do. I like to use glass for the floors. I like to use slabs for the floors, trapdoors also,
Yep.
carpet. And then instead of lighting everything up to make it mob proof, use the lighting to really, I don't know, give your base that wow factor, that dynamic lighting. For instance, I have my fog effect, and below that is like a light source. So you're getting like a glow from the floor, and as dark as it is in that room, it's mob proof, and you're still getting that wow factor.
Yeah. When we talked about Tango Tech's Decked Out a lot, and he plays with the lighting effects because they're on a mushroom island. And so he doesn't have to worry about spawns. And there are some spots in that build you're just like, you could tell went all out with, hey, I want it to be dark and stuff, but I'm going to have a little light coming from back around this corner that kind of gives you a little hint at stuff. And you're right, dynamic lighting plays a huge benefit and how you can build. And we're not talking about the Optifine dynamic lighting where you have to use that. We're talking, like you said, where if you look around my storage area, it's all lit up and everything. But if you look up and into the mountain, it's just pitch black. And it's supposed to make you feel like you're under the night sky all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to play with the dark.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to be on a mushroom island. You can play with it a little more. You don't have to worry about spawn proofing so much. It's a good idea to build on a mushroom island if you want that dynamic lighting look. But I mean, also, like, I'm not on a mushroom island. You can still get that.
Yeah, you just gotta be smart about it.
Right. Also, I like to mention some of the blocks I use. Like, if I were to, like, I want to use a lot of blackstone, and it's a dark block. You know, it is blackstone. I like to use light colors with that dark to, I don't know, make it pop a little more. If you use lighter colors with darker colors, I always make sure to do that. Like if I were to use sandstone, I try to find something darker to go with it. I don't know if that's just me. I know there's ways to, use light colors together, but I always prefer dark and light blocks together. I think it looks better that way.
Yeah. Definitely don't be afraid to play with random colors too.
Right.
2 colors, like especially the terracottas, not so much the glazed terracottas. Those are really hard to kind of really put out there. But terracottas are such a nice, natural feeling color that they can go just about anywhere if you do it right. So, yeah, definitely go with those things.
Cyan terracotta.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably one of my favorites. It's not very colorful.
It's not.
But it's
gray.
such a unique gray. Yeah. See, you mentioned playing with colors, and here my base is black and white.
Yeah.
As of right now, I plan on putting some color in there. I like to have like I said, dark and light colors, and then mainly black and white, and then have that one accent color throughout my build. That's usually how I do it. Yeah, we'll see how it comes out.
Yeah,
always experimenting. Always nice.
But do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
So I think that's going to do it for today's show. But before Jimbo reads us out, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons for supporting our show. Our milk level patrons are aubni, ChiefBigBear, Crock, ohbeep, StoneFigure, TheOfficialCCL, viperoustuna, and YDYT. If you would like to gain access to the exclusive benefits and hours of extra content each month, please consider joining at patreon.com/thewithering effect.
And if you like this show, you can share it with all of your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps the show reach more listeners. If you would like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@thewitheringeffect.com. Tweet us, leave a voice message, or join our Discord where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All the links are in the show notes.
This show has been brought to you by Jimbo and myself, but also our digital producer Carl, who helps make sure the show ends up where it should be. The amazing music you hear in the intro and the outro was created by the one and only Decoy. Everyone's social media info can be found down in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for getting withered with us. You should probably go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you guys.